Huh?
No, he's not coming tonight.
He's in Texas, I think.
It may come up. Is it informal?
That's a bizarre passcode. I hope it works.
New one.
Well, it's consistent with some of our other stuff.
That's funny.
We use water tower, sewer pond, power plant, and the numbers.
That's funny.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes
I'm gonna scroll up.
of the last week's?
I had one minor typo correction. Other than that, I would move to approve.
Okay, any other additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, Amanda made the motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Larry. All in favor? Minutes approved. Nothing on the consent agenda. Sheriff, Cody's not here, so we're starting on new business. So, Paula, you're up.
Okay. I don't know if you want me to stand or how you want me to do
You
it.
can bring a chair up there or whatever you want to do.
I'll just stand. It feels good to stand. You guys might have a heads up because I know Ms. Routs mentioned this a month ago, I think it was, and it was in the paper about me wanting to relocate our city court hearings that we have into the city offices. I'm assuming this would be the office if it would happen. But anyway, you should have the ordinance that I copied and the statute that I think gives some statutory authority for municipal courts and, what I feel like is the city court being able to make the decision on where actually court is held. So I guess my request is that it be moved over to the city offices here, just because I think that there is some confusion sometimes when people come to court, that they'll come up and they'll ask about, well, which office do I need to go to, and a lot of times they end up here. I'm sure Lila and Jen can probably, confirm that, but a lot of times, it's just confusing, I think. And with the COVID restrictions that we've had to do in district court, it's just very restrictive with the paneling that we put up and taping off in the courtroom that we have to have 6 feet distance for everybody now, and I think they've figured out that it would be like about 28 people total that could sit in the back of the courtroom, which really with city court, right now we don't have the volume of cases that we did when I first came on. In fact, city court was busier than district court, I think, a lot of months. But right now, we don't have, high volume of cases. So anyway, I'm wanting feedback from the council to see their feelings on this and questions for me, if you have any discussion about it.
Do you think the way things are set up in here that they would be fine without doing anything?
I thought maybe with the layout here that we could probably have each side of the case, city attorney or whatever, and the defendant on the opposite ends of the U shape here, and then maybe me sit at the head there, and if we have any witnesses or anything, I think we could probably, put them here in the gallery or whatever you guys call it. But I understand, somebody said that they thought that there was city court conducted here at one time. I mean, right after you guys, when Sarah Smith was the county clerk, or city clerk, that's not right?
No, we've never had anything here.
Oh, okay.
We used to use that small one that I think the sheriff's department took over on the west side of the courthouse. I think that.
Oh,
They used to-
yeah, with
remember
Judge
that
Van
real
Allen's
small-
for the little
Yeah.
courtroom, yeah.
I don't know if it's still there. But
Well, no, it's something that the sheriff's office has just kind of
that's what it
remade.
used to
Yeah,
always be.
yeah.
Is there additional equipment or something you'd have to have?
Well, as it stands now, and the way I understand, you guys are the ones that are in charge of your COVID restrictions and what you do. I understand that you don't really have any other, I mean, you put the, is it 6-foot social distancing
We
still?
did for a while until this last meeting's when we decided to come back.
And really
So this
no
is the first meeting
restrictions?
we're all basically setting this close. Before, we was spread out, and a couple of the council members were out there, and we
Yeah.
spread out 6 feet, but
Yeah.
we decided to move back, so.
You know, I feel like any restrictions that city court has would be up to, you know, the council as far as their, you know, what they've done in the rest of the city office.
I have a question on that. So the restrictions that you mentioned about district court, that doesn't play for municipal court?
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with it?
Right.
Okay.
We are governed by the Supreme Court over there, and we get our administrative orders from them, but it comes down through our head judge, which is Judge Kevin Behrens out of Colby. And he's the one that kind of filters it and customizes it, I guess, according to our judicial district. So that's why we have what we have in district court. And it, you know, I'm sure nobody likes it, but that's just the way it is right now. So hopefully it won't last forever, but, you know, we don't know. And with all of that being said and done in district court, and the money that they have had to put out for that, you know, those restrictions, I kind of feel like maybe this would be a good time. I've always kind of thought that this would be the appropriate place for court anyway, just because it's part of city government, and, you know, you've got a wonderful facility here. So, anyway.
Any questions from anybody? As far as I'm concerned, as long as you can use the layout that's in here, I don't know why you can't use the room.
We are not, city court is not a court of record where you have to record anything, so that would make it easy, you know. I know I've talked to Judge Leanne Taylor over in Goodland about how she's been doing some of her hearings, and she's had some video conferencing hearings, like from the jail, some bond hearings and stuff like that. But those kind of things, we can work around. Those don't happen very often in our city court, to be honest with you. We usually, you know, if it's something that needs somebody, you know, put in custody for a while, it's usually the 18-hour rule, and then they're out, basically. So, but that's for the city attorney, I guess, to comment on maybe. So, I don't know, Ms. Rolfs, you and I talked a little bit about this, and I kind of gave her a heads up, obviously, that I was
And I had
gonna
let the
ask.
council know
Yeah.
that this was coming. I don't see, I said the same thing to the council that I've said to you. I don't see any reason, I mean, it's been that way from my understanding as long as Mike was on for 40 years. I don't really see any need for it to change. That being said, I don't really have any opposition to it changing. If you tell me where we're having court, I will show up and I will show up to court. So
Yeah, you and me both.
Like I said, you know, this is. I had brought it to the council and said, you know, Judge Keller wants to make this transition. I don't know why. I know that you have felt this way for a while, and Mike was adamantly against it.
I know.
I don't know that it is I don't know that it is appropriate for me to tell the judge where the judge should be holding court. So I'm going
I appreciate that, Ms. Ralphs, because I do feel like, in all respect, I feel like the ordinance is pretty clear. It says the court shall be held as designated on such days and such hours wherever the municipal judge designates. So,
And the only comment I would have on that is that if council disagrees with Her Honor, council has the authority to change the code and take that power away from Her Honor. And that is
Definitely,
my
yeah. As
job
we
to
agree.
advise the council. I'm not saying I disagree, but I'm
Sure.
This is a very bizarre position for me to be in.
Oh,
But does
no.
anybody on the council have any opposition to
No.
it being here?
No.
If not, why don't we
Do
try
you
it?
think it'd make things more efficient for you?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem as far as, I mean, it's not going to make it any less efficient, put it that way. I'm more concerned about the public that we summon to court. I feel like it's less confusing for them. And I'm assuming that whenever we do have court, it's on the fourth Thursday, I can't remember, second or third Thursday of the month at 1:30 in the afternoon.
I think is it Wednesday? Isn't it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. I believe it's the third Wednesday.
Wednesday or Thursday, because we have district court up there too, and I can't
I think
remember
it's the
for sure.
third Wednesday of the month at
And
I
it's
think
at 1:30 in the afternoon.
It
yeah.
is.
So it would
Um,
be at
The only
hours.
thing I would say is I would request that this not go into effect until August because we have paperwork pending with the summons. I believe that is out to be served. I had sent it to Cody for signatures last week, and that was calling for July 15th. And given what happened with our previous change in
With the
municipal
COVID
court
and
days
stuff,
and
yeah.
everything, I would just ask that this not go into effect until August, which would also give us time for me to get a revised ordinance to the council for their approval, and so that way we could meet on it in July. It wouldn't affect any notice, it wouldn't affect any summons, and then we could go forward from.
Well, can I ask you, with that being said, you talked about a revised ordinance. What kind of revisions do you see as
It
taking
states that the
place?
municipal court shall be held in Cheyenne County District Courtroom or in such places designated and on such days and such hours as the municipal judge designates. I mean, at this point, if anyone were to look up where do I need to go to court, they would see this and they would report over there. And I think that that would be cause for if we say they didn't show up to court, they said we looked on your website and it says that municipal court is held over there.
So take that out, the Cheyenne County District Courtroom, is what you're saying?
Well, we would put in the council room of the
Make it
of
very
St.
specific.
Francis.
Especially
Leave it
for,
up to where the judge decides, and then that way, you know.
Yep, that is, I mean, we can
And
do
if you
that.
left it very basic, then that
Right.
way if it ever
Yeah, we
changed,
can,
or
we
like
can
you've
omit
got
it.
other
I will
judges
word
or-
it
yeah.
however council wants it
You know,
worded.
that way it's just
Yeah.
left up to them.
Whoever the judge at that time, they can
Mhm.
switch it however
Yeah.
if they want, I guess, yeah.
That way we don't have to go back and rewrite it in case somebody down the line.
Yeah, that's up to you guys, I guess.
Yeah.
So we should be able to leave it just as is. It's just that we're going to have to make sure that whoever's supposed to be coming to court here needs to know it's here, not over there.
Right, and I would, as I stated, I would just ask, because we already have documents, we have one case pending that's been continued for
Right.
quite a while, that's supposed to be heard on the 15th.
Mhm.
And then we have another document, which I believe
Mhm.
summons went out today,
Mhm.
summoning them to the district court on the 15th. So I would just ask that we implement that as of August, rather than July 15th, so we do not have to remake service on multiple parties.
Maybe put any signs or something up so people know like where to come in instead of like the front, so you
Well-
know to come in the side.
The only other comment I might have about that is on a long-form complaint, which Ms. Rouse would do for like ordinance violations or something like that, it would have, I'm assuming, the specific address for them to report to. I haven't looked at that with particularity for that.
I think so.
But
I
think it
can't,
does. But I know that
I
just
don't have
a
the form.
traffic citation doesn't, it has municipal court, it doesn't have the street address
Right.
on our
I
traffic.
don't think the complaint, the long form complaint has it. I believe the summons that we serve with the complaint has it.
Okay.
Which is the reason why I'm asking to change it to
July 15th.
wait until August to implement it, so that July 15th can
Right.
still happen in the courthouse, because the summons does in fact say the 212 East Washington, or I believe that's the court's address.
Yes.
And so
The district court.
yeah.
What issues do you have, Lila, with, you usually keep this back door locked?
Cody would unlock it. I mean, she's the municipal court clerk. That'd probably just be part of her duties
Cody
to...
just unlock it
Yeah.
when it's that day, okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't want them coming through the front.
No, that would be disruptive, but,
Okay.
yeah.
And she
Yeah,
could
so
probably...
Cody could be in charge of making sure
Yes.
that door's unlocked, and then when it's over with, she can lock it again.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so,
I did talk to the sheriff's office today, just out of curiosity, for the ticket, the traffic citations forms that they use, and it does say, I think 212, it has the district court's address, and so they will use those up until, pending this, but until
So
those
is-
are used up, we'll...
So is the court going to issue a alternative summons, or are they going to scratch through that and then write the city's address? How is that going to be addressed? Because I don't see the tickets until, those are not brought to me or my attention until after the first appearance.
Right.
Until after the charges have been brought and the defendant has entered their first appearance.
Well-
So I mean, I would not have the adequate knowledge to prepare a summons
Right.
for this matter.
I could instruct the sheriff's office to tell the officers to, just strike that out, the address or something, if they think about it. I mean, I think we can work on a case-by-case basis. It's not a big deal. If they show up over there, we'll just send them over here, and that's okay with the council and Ms. Rouse. Do it that way until we...
okay. Do I hear somebody want to make a motion that in 1st of August, we'll have court over here? Moved by Cale, second by Amanda, all in favor? Hey, we can start doing it here, and if it don't work, then maybe we'll move back over there. I don't know.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys considering that. We'll plan on that.
Thanks,
Have
Paula.
a good meeting.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Paula.
Okay, the Recreation Commission. Van Chill rental application.
Basically, what the rec commission's looking at, on July 4th, they're wanting to do kind of an all-day set of activities. I just got an updated email today from, they're looking at doing like a kids parade around 10 o'clock in the morning, a bicycle rodeo. Rec commission's sponsoring free swimming that day. They're looking at having possibly food vendors or a barbecue contest or both. A lot of this is still in the working stages, trying to get, since we just come out of all this other stuff. The cornhole contest tournament, possibility of having basketball games at the courts. The Cheyenne County Health Department's going to kick in and do some games and activities. There's talk of possibly doing a fun run or walk. And I believe the farmer's market's going to participate in it too in the morning. So what they're asking for is to have use of the park facilities. I think the band show, if they're even using the band show, would just be morning hours, if I understood them right. They're just asking to have any fees waived so that they can have access to the park that day. And then they're asking to have the Washington Street blocked off between the pool and the park.
They've got North Dennison on the,
Let me pull up-
also
let me pull up
between the two
picture.
parks on their map.
So
Yeah, it'd be Washington Street between the park and between Sawhill Park and the pool, and then also between the basketball courts and that side of the park and the other park. We're asking to barricade that off for the different activities. Probably food vendors in the Denison area, and then they're wanting to do some parade and possibly cornhole contest and some other things with the use of Washington Street there. They've asked to have access to electricity, trash, and bathrooms. And this was something that, quite honestly, we started discussing this a couple of weeks ago. We had several people come to the rec commission and say, hey, can you guys do something for the pool? So now I know Allison's been talking with, are you ladies here from
The
Health Department? She's been talking with the Health Department and a couple other people at the hospital and some things too. And just trying to get some community involvement. I mean, that's what we're shooting for. Any questions? I'm probably not quite as up to speed on this as I should be.
So basically, you're asking for the band shell rental application and the special event permit application, just both of those to be, all the fees waived and everything, and that they can walk off the streets
Yes.
to do what they're wanting to do that day on July 4th.
And then with that motion, I'll just remind you that you need to make the determination on liability insurance, just whether you're waiving that or not.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the rec commission's
Any problems with walking up the street?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Cale and seconded by Amanda. All in favor? Approved. With the waiver of liability.
Waiving fees and liability.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, now we'll let you girls talk.
I think it kind of already got covered, but the county health department was helping to sponsor a cornhole tournament, just to have the health department present amongst the festivities and community engagement.
So you're just basically all tied in with the 4th of July deal. So this is basically covering it all in one lump deal here, so. Okay.
Except they've got two more.
And then we have
Right.
a few more events.
Okay.
So we're planning a Dia de los Niños, which is a celebration for the younger kids in our community. And we're going to have yard games, cornhole, water guns, a slip and slide, just a little fun few hours for all the younger kids. And we're wanting to do that in the park.
And what date was that going to be?
That, July 15th.
July 15th. Okay, does everybody,
And you had the other one too.
And then we have a bonfire plan for all the older kids of the community. For this bonfire, I was planning on building it in a stock tank, which is on a trailer, so it wasn't on the street, and so we could easily move it out that night, and we wouldn't have to worry about making a mess. I do understand that there can be a burn ban, and we would call it in dispatch, so there were no problems. But we were wanting to do that on North Denison in between the two parks. We were wanting the roads to be blocked off.
blocked off? And is that going to be the 15th also?
That is
Is
going to be July 17th.
July 2nd?
Yes, they should all be out there.
Is that a Saturday?
Friday.
Friday?
Right. So the 15th on what?
Sorry.
Wednesday.
On a Wednesday. Okay.
And I noticed on your applications you had marked insurance coverage. Was there a reason why that was marked? Were you thinking you had insurance or? No, you don't know.
I think we tried the best that we could.
Okay.
It came down to not in Mexico. Yeah.
Okay.
So on the 17th for the fire, is there any other events going on with that? Or just the fire?
Just the fire, we might have cornhole set up just to have, and then we'll have food also.
Okay, cool.
The idea was to get some of the older kids together and a supervised activity because of COVID and not being able to socialize. We wanted to bring kids together and
Yeah.
structured manner. And it was just for like 14 to 19
Yeah.
year olds.
Well, that's why I was wondering, you might check with the fire department to see if they would at least bring down the one small truck to sit there, just in case, you know.
You can spray the kids with water too for fun.
Get a hold of Dan Blair.
Yep.
So,
Thanks for your effort, ladies.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Everybody's wanting to do something right now, everybody is. So, do I hear a motion to approve both of these events, July the 15th for the little kids, July the 17th for the bonfire, waive all fees and all liabilities?
So,
And the 4th.
What's that?
And the 4th.
And the 4th, yeah, and the 4th. They're included in on the 4th. So, moved by Larry, second by Cale, all in favor? Approved. Okay, well, what's that?
Are we going to put a caveat on there that we're waiving the insurance for the bonfire pending a fire truck being there?
Yeah, really, you really probably need to have a fire truck down there. So if you don't get a fire truck,
A lot of extinguishers.
we'd have to have several fire extinguishers around there. I think there'd be somebody volunteer to bring a truck down there off the fire department. So check with Dan Blair, and then if you have an issue with that, let us know. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and I hope that goes good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All three events are blocking, all three events are
Right, and
blocking
she said she knew that if there was a burn ban, they could do it. Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that was going to be okay, because I questioned her about that at first, walking off between the...
I question it a little bit, just blocking both of them. I think it's okay, but...
Well, if there's any kind of an issue, I can go back to Ellison and say,
What is the purpose of blocking?
well, my understanding at this point is it's strictly for cornhole and some activities right along there, but I don't know why they couldn't do that in the park.
Or on Dennis, which is already...
Or
that's
on
where you're
Dennis,
gonna
but
have vendors.
they are talking about outside vendors.
So as long as if it's needed, that's fine. I just don't want to have it blocked up and they're not anything.
I agree. And
But I think it's fine. Let's let law enforcement, EMS know.
I'll talk to Ellison a little bit more and see if I can get a little better feel on why they're wanting more features. I don't think there's an issue with it.
Yeah, well,
So that's a question, when you mention law enforcement, who notifies them when these special events are happening? Is that the clerk's
Yeah,
office?
If we approve it and we're blocking a street, we need to let local law enforcement, who will then let EMS know that there's a street being blocked.
Right, but I'm asking, do I do that, or is that you, or?
Since you have the application in hand,
Yes.
I guess it would probably be best if you did it.
Okay,
Uh,
yep.
well, that's great that they're trying to put some things together. I hope everything works good and gives kids something else to do this summer. Okay, next is the concert in the park. Yay.
Now, we've actually, Terry's worked her tail end off to get some things put together, and I'll just kind of highlight what we're looking at. We're actually trying to make this into a bigger event. The concert in the park, the long run will actually be here starting at 8 o'clock. They've also talked to Deliberate Ken, which has been at Fresh 7 twice. They're going to come early, and we'll have them play for an hour, maybe an hour and a half in the park. We're looking at doing some activities. Some of the people that are involved, Tropical Snow will be here for snow cones. Class of 2023 is going to do a class fundraiser and serve barbecue.
Barbecue sandwiches and chips and cookies.
Farmers Market wants to participate with some things. Killy Hilt and Tumbleweed Tumblers are going to do a fundraiser with like face painting for kids or adults, I suppose. Cheyenne County Theater has volunteered to bring up some popcorn and candy.
If that gets
If it gets approved.
approved.
Right. Girl Scouts are looking at doing water and pop. Sadie Super's very possibly, Terry's talked to Fernando a couple times, there's a chance they might want to tie in a customer appreciation giveaway with maybe some hamburgers or something. Is that right?
That's what you had talked about, but still working on a definite answer for that.
And then we've also got the rec commission and the health department working on some games, kids' activities, possibly some free snacks during that day. We're actually thinking about trying to kick things off maybe around 4 o'clock with some activities, and then maybe 5:30 to 6 o'clock in there, the class of 2023 could do their fundraiser as far as some food. We're still investigating some other vendors and seeing what else we could come up with. We've had a couple other people approach us. Who's the one this weekend?
I was checking with Noe and Tennille too, and then possibly the Hispanic ladies maybe.
And then what about, I can't think of the name, Melissa Swigert?
Oh, Melissa Swigert's daughter wants to do like cookies and cupcakes, selling.
So basically what we're trying to do is from say 4 to 6 have some activities that would involve kids and adults. If everything went right and we could staff the pool at that time, we'd like to have the pool open a little bit that afternoon. Then from say 6 to 8 or 9, possibly have some food vendors there and some things. We'd like to have Deliberate Kin come in and start some music activities at least by 6:30, and probably set them up out in the park, because the long run it'll take them 2 or 3 hours to get set up and everything in the band shell. They are bringing in their own sound guy this year, which will help us with not only the presentation, but possibly with lights. We're still looking into that a little bit, but this guy's worked with the long run multiple times, so we're pretty excited about that. Plus, we couldn't find a sound guy local to back us up on that. But,
What date was this again?
29th.
August?
August 29th. Which is, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the week before Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Any school events going on that weekend?
not that I'm aware of.
But I mean, at this point, we don't even know what the school events are
Yeah.
going to be anyways, so.
Yes, we would like to block Denison and Francis. And Francis will have to caddy corner for the bank again like we did last year. We'll have band only, and we do want to put a couple of porta potties in like we did last summer. Band only on Francis side, and then it'd be the vendors and stuff in between the basketball courts and the park. Any questions so far?
No Washington Street blockage?
No, because we want people to be able to park in front of the park.
Yeah.
And that worked out really well last year.
Yeah.
Of course, we had alumni going on last year, but we've had tremendous feedback from not only the community, but people outside the community already about this. So we're hoping to not only draw people in from our community, but let's bring some other people into town. And
It was amazing last year, the people that were from Gilman that were sitting in our group, and Colby,
Yeah.
that were here, and clear from Cheyenne Wells.
Yeah. Cheyenne Wells, Burlington, we have people from Ray, Bankelman, Imperial, Atwood, Oberlin, Colby, Scott City. Just that we know, there's some people in from Denver too, some things. Any questions? The other thing I wanted to bring up is we've been discussing whether or not to have a beer garden, and there's been 2 options that we've been approached by. One is to actually have a beer garden, or the other option that was brought up and we want to approach the council with is whether or not the council would allow BYOB for that day versus a beer garden. We're just looking at some other options. I can go either way on the beer garden. What we do think it has an advantage is it does bring in some extra people. We want to do what's right for the community, and here again, it would tie in with some of the other vendors too.
You'd still have to have liability insurance for that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Which I've already checked into.
Yeah, we've been talking with Kale a little bit as far as some options. We had one other person approach us about a potential beer vendor, so to speak, and they couldn't get things put together this year. I guess what we're asking for with everything we put into this is that we would like to have any fees waived as far as park usage. I understand that if we do have a beer garden, that there's a $100 fee if you're going to have alcohol.
If you're going to have alcohol, and I don't see, Lauren's going to need to look into that as to what our ordinances say. We've never been asked this question, but I'm not sure that we can allow just people to bring their own alcohol.
I
into the
advise
park.
against it just due to liability. If you're not serving alcohol, there's no technical requirement for insurance. Insurance coverage is required if the event is serving alcohol.
Right.
And
We're
so,
aware of that.
right, but if the event is not serving alcohol, we're allowing people to bring their own beverages in. I don't know that there's the written authority to require you to carry the insurance,
But we'd still have to have it.
but you would need to have it. I also don't know what kind of, I just think that that's inviting way too much prospective liability, and even with an indemnify and hold harmless agreement,
Yeah.
I think that it's well outside a risk I would advise the council to approve.
I guess what I was curious about is how was it done in the past?
What's that?
Allowing alcohol in the park.
It went like that until about 20 years ago. And it never even got out of hand at that time, but I think it was just that they decided not to allow. Used to, they carried coolers into the park.
Yeah.
And they still do.
They still do.
And they still do. Yes, you are
And
not.
we will have police presence.
Officializing is where you get into trouble.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never do anything.
And
No one ever does. So,
we've never had any issues. And you know what's amazing is the public's actually is probably as much control over the people as the police or the sheriff's department.
We were absolutely amazed after last year's about how little we had to clean up,
yeah.
how responsible people were.
I think the first year we did the beer garden, the next morning I went up to pick up my stuff, and I think I only found one beer can in
Yeah.
the grass. So
We had less than
everybody
half a
did really
trash
well.
bag in the entire park.
Yeah.
When we went around and cleaned up.
Yeah.
We had over 1,000 people in the park.
Yeah.
Most people, as long as we have
Pretty
enough,
responsible.
if we have enough trash containers out there, they pick it up.
Yeah.
And the very first beer garden we ever had, there was two guys that were going to get into little, you should have seen everybody jump on their throats and told them to leave. The police weren't even around, and you got handled so fast that everybody said, you're going to ruin it for everybody else. And both of them left. It was, people are, they'll police it too, along with the police real fast. So if somebody gets out of hand, but I don't know. We sure wasn't going to advertise, bring BYOB and everybody bring it that way.
Well, like I said, the people that had asked about it, I told them I'd bring it up.
Yeah.
Your question on the fee, the $100,
That's
that's for Lauren to create a resolution to allow
I understand.
kale.
I
So,
understand that.
yeah.
I'm just asking in this instance if we could waive it.
I don't, the $100, the rental fee and the application fee can be waived. The resolution for any alcohol, that fee cannot be waived.
And why is that?
That's
So
my...
we're going to have to pay her to create this resolution, so
How have we done it in the past?
before we had this,
We didn't charge for it.
we did not.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm just
But-
asking for one time on this deal being sent out. We're trying to cram all this in with everything's been going on. Can we waive it this time? Part of that is the extra expenses that we're looking at with the insurance. I understand there's a cost to the city.
Right.
I guess what I'm asking is would the city be willing to overlook that in this instance to help with this project?
I think the difference is that in waiving the fees for the normal applications, the city is foregoing bringing in any money. As opposed to in this instance, the city will have to be paying money in order to hold this event to create a resolution. And that's up to the council whether they want to do that, but that is the difference. It's not just you're foregoing the fee of bringing in money. It's you're foregoing the fee of bringing in money, plus it is coming out of the city's budget to pay for the resolution to be created.
And we didn't charge in the past for that because it had never occurred to anybody that there was a fee to create that resolution. Because I think it was only 2 or 3 times that Cale did it, and then when we were revamping all of this, it came up that this is costing the city money, which really it should be the vendor who is selling the alcohol should really be paying that fee.
And the $25 fee to the Division of Alcohol and Beverage Control, that fee, I mean, the city has no authorization to waive the fee to be remitted to
We understand
that. So, I mean, it's up to the council whether they want to waive the resolution fee.
that. Have I overlooked anything else? Basically, that's it in a nutshell. We're just trying to make this a little bigger project, get a little more community involvement, bring other people into out of town.
I want to make it as successful, if not even more successful than it was last year. And everybody that I've talked to that has sponsored and donated has been nothing but excited about it. They're, yes, something to look forward to, and they enjoyed it last year.
For you guys that don't know who Deliberate Kin is, they're a younger couple, probably mid-30s, 2 adorable daughters. They do bluegrass, folk, Americana kind of country music. Really good. They've been at Fresh 7 twice. We've seen them several times. And basically, I threw it out to them, and I said, "Here, Amanda Jo, take a look at this and see what you think." And then got off the phone with her 10 minutes later. She said, "Yeah, we're coming." So, any questions from anybody?
Don't you think that, my feeling is we shouldn't waive the $100 fee for that,
Okay.
because then we're open up for all the other people that want to do it. Because I know the Motorcycle Bike Timber Fest is going to be asking again, and so everybody needs to pay that. But I'm sure we can find some ways, some more money for you to pay for that $100.
Well, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure that out.
So I will throw it out there. My office will sponsor that fee, meaning I will prepare the resolution pro bono
Okay.
for the council to not waive the fee.
Okay.
And that will be my sponsorship from my office of the event.
Awesome.
So I will put it on my city bill for the resolution, and then I will back it out as a professional courtesy.
That's good.
And that will be Milliken Routs PA's
Okay.
sponsorship of the event.
And we will also be in, anybody that sponsors, that's helped us out, whether it be individuals or businesses, will be recognized before the concert starts.
And also on the big posters that we will
Our
have
posters,
made up.
if you guys haven't seen them last year, they're probably about yay tall.
Yeah.
And we'll put sponsors on there, plus we're going to try to condense it a little bit with some of these extra activities. But that's what we're shooting for, get people here.
Appreciate it.
So basically, do I hear a motion to waive all the other fees for the August 29th for the band shell and the fees and of course if you do have the beer garden, you'll have to have the insurance on that. So I guess you'll let us know at a later date if you're doing the beer garden or not.
And we need I don't know if you said, the electrical, bathrooms,
Right.
and...
Yeah.
electric stuff.
That'll include all that, the restrooms, the bathrooms, blocking off streets and everything.
So moved.
Have been moved by Amanda, second by Derek. All in favor?
Thank you, guys.
Approved.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, we really do appreciate it.
We appreciate all
Larry
the work that
abstained.
goes into that.
You
We-
abstained.
This has been
Yeah,
a,
probably better. I mean, I'd love to vote, but
Yeah.
am I okay to vote?
Nope.
No.
Quick question. Does the rec commission and us for the concert in the park, do we need to get you a deposit for the band shell?
So we always require the damage deposit,
fine.
and then it's returned when
Right.
there's no damage, yeah.
I know I mentioned it, but is everybody okay with a couple extra bathrooms coming in, like we did last year?
Yeah, we should.
That seemed to work out really well.
they were used with so many people.
I didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot
They
of
were
people
back
going
over
over to the
by that
other ones
alley
and
where they
and
kind
a
of-
lot of
East side of the
people-
park,
Yeah.
right next to the...
In the alley.
Yeah, well,
No, it was on... I don't know about that one.
We're just excited to get to do this because, we didn't think that this was going to get to happen and then getting things kind of opened up. And we asked the guys, are you still wanting to come out? And they were
They started pushing us
Yeah.
again. We've kind of had this locked in since
February.
February.
And we thought, oh man, we're going to have to cancel, when everything was happening. And we just kind of kept holding on, waiting. So we're trying to put all this together in the short amount of time that we have. So,
I mean, they're maybe
appreciate
still
everything.
On the alumni board. Let's see if we can get Jimmy D for next year. We better get on it right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Jimmy Dean sausage?
Jimmy D.
Jimmy D,
Fan,
the fabulous
fabulous.
Five, I think is what it is.
I've actually talked to him a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good. But it's all going to be 50s and 60s people.
Oh, yeah.
And they are good. They've been to Kobe several times. They used to play back before you was even around, the Rusty
Oh,
Bucket.
sure.
do you want me to stick around for the pool stuff or not?
That's up to you.
So as far as the alcohol thing, we're definitely not going to let people bring their own?
No.
Is that the plan?
No, BYOB.
We won't encourage it, you won't eliminate it.
Yeah, we just won't
Yeah,
know.
we
There-
just did it anyway.
We can't.
There's always some of that happens, and we just hope nothing gets out of hand.
So who is remitting the 25? Is that you that remits the $25 to the
If I do
division?
in the garden, then yes.
Okay.
That goes to the state, yes.
Right, so let me know, so my office is going to sponsor that, so I will put it on the bill, write it off as my office covered the cost of the resolution, and I will remit you, if it's you, I will give you a $25 check to cover what you need to cover.
No, I'll pay that. If I'm doing it, I'll do that. Because I'll also be contributing to the insurance, which, do you guys have a quote yet, or I guess we...
It was like $229
We can talk
or
about it
something,
later,
so
but
We'll work with you.
we'll work that out.
we'll do half,
Yeah,
if that's what it is.
and the concert will do the other half.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're talking, so they're not talking about the C&D stuff, they're talking about the alcoholic beverage, so there's no $25 fee.
No, but I do have to pay 25 or 50 to the state to create a special license for
Oh.
our liquor license.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's 25, isn't it?
I don't remember now. It's either 25 or 50.
25 or 50, and just like an off-premise,
Off-premise
it's a license from
special event.
your place up there.
Lyle, anything else you can think of that you're going to need from us?
I can't think of anything.
If we get like additional vendors or something, we'll let you know.
So what happens with that is, you don't necessarily have to give me a list. I notify the state that this special event is happening,
Okay.
once it's been approved, which it has, and then I give them your contact information, and then they reach out to you and ask for that list. So, and the other information that I sent to you.
And if you have quite a few vendors, what they're going to do is send you packets.
Yeah.
That you have to hand out to them.
Right now, I think we've only got one, maybe two that would even be for profit. Everything else is non-profit type
Like
organization.
the Girl Scouts and
Right.
the face painting and
Mhm.
the class of 2023.
So you guys talked to Lacey's son,
I did talk to Trevor.
Trevor, yeah.
Yeah, I did talk. In fact, Trevor's where I get a lot of ideas from.
Yeah, he's, be good to have.
The kicker with Trevor is we would have to be able to guarantee him a certain amount. And we don't want to, we want vendors, but we don't want them necessarily to be in competition with the class of 2023. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to do this to where we can help out other community organizations as well. Now, we don't have a problem if somebody wants to come in for an hour and sell hot dogs or something like that. We just want to make sure that, like the class of 2023 can get what they've got. They think they can serve up to 300 people based on the conversations Terry's had.
Yeah, that's, Jesselyn Halpin's, so I've talked with Sarah.
You think we'll have about 1,000 people? Maybe?
Well, with the response we've got from the community, we've actually gotten better response this year than we had last year.
Yeah.
As far as people excited about the issue and wanting to get out and
Because
do
they haven't
something.
brought anything in.
We've also had
Well,
someone sitting at home.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I'm sure that's contributing to it. But we're going to advertise, we'll have flyers, we'll be on KYBZ radio.
Cereal malt beverages,
Yes.
correct?
Last week,
Okay.
I emailed
Because that's
Joe at
always what he does,
KYBZ and I
and
told him, hey,
I can't imagine they'll
looks
do
like
that.
August 29th, we're going to have this concert. I will
I
get
did
you
know
information
that
later.
email to Holly to remind me to
I
get
get
on
to
it
work down
tomorrow
there
to
in
do it,
Goodland,
so
and
before
Gary
I
says,
get a
hey, I heard
resolution done, and then
a
have to do
spot on the
another
radio
resolution.
already. You already put in a free spot saying,
Well, you can't do the resolution until he gives us his information for it. There'll be a
and he'll
map
do that.
Yeah.
He does
with it
that.
designated.
Yeah, but I mean, we
A
can
lot of the
get it
stations
ready to go,
run ads free for
and then,
We'll,
I mean, we can get it ready to go, and then just fill
We'll
in,
run
put the brackets, like what
30 to
different bond.
50 ads that
Because I
we'll
mean, the
pay for
resolution, the
through
language is
Atwood.
all,
He always does a lot of extra.
He does a
You
lot
know,
of extra
I think
stuff.
you have to
for us, too. And
designate,
we'll probably run a few on
I'll
Goodland.
have to look at one.
We'll
Because I think you
advertise
have to
on Civic
designate
Shopper
the streets
real
and
quick.
stuff. But
right, but we, I mean, we can get that
At least
paper.
one or two, well, I think the paper's going to
Okay.
do an article for us. We'll have it on the bank board or whatever. We'll have it on
I
the
don't know where
city
Holly
board up
put
on
that on my
Highway.
server.
Basically everything and maybe even a little bit more we were doing last year.
Ooh.
And we actually ran out of flyers last year and
That's why we're doing more this year.
bumping the numbers up a little bit more. But like I said, our goal was to make it a little more than just a concert.
Sounds great.
Thanks for your help, by the way, Terry. Thanks again, guys. Come on.
Okay, let's move on to fireworks license.
Oh, that's the body shop.
No, Gary.
Gary Lilly.
That's Gary Lilly.
Oh. Gary.
122 West Washington.
Hasn't he had a license for 50 years?
Yeah, he sells them, wholesale. but-
He has not had a license.
He hasn't sold them in
He hasn't
franchise.
sold them in town, he's sold them to a lot of different people, but nothing
Maybe it
in town.
affected him a little bit.
So do I hear a motion to approve the fireworks license for Gary Lilly? Moved by Amanda, second by Kale, all in favor? Approved. Okay, we have another fireworks license for Bronx Fireworks, Laura and Julie Bronx.
So you'll notice that there's two for them. They are not sure yet which of these locations they're going to use. One of them is Polling's building up there where they've had them before. And if Polling's won't let them use that building, then they'll do it across the street behind the shop, Bronx shop, in a trailer, which they've done. So that's why there's two of these. Once, if you approve them having one, once she lets us know, we'll toss one and keep the other.
Okay. Okay. Someone make the motion on Bronx?
So moved.
Okay, been moved by Larry,
Second.
second by Kale, all in favor? Approved.
Where was what for this one? Okay. Jump that. Oh, was that the bank? Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
probably right.
Name was 112.
Yeah,
Washington.
yeah, because we were 121, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
I was
who's-
just trying to think,
He's gonna be using Gary,
Body shop guys.
Gary.
Gary's Body Shop.
Yeah.
Gary Smith.
Gary Smith.
Okay, next item is the bond document.
I think that's me to go through all of that. Has everyone seen the documents? I'm assuming you had a chance to upload them
Yes.
to Google Docs. Okay. There were 5 bids, the lowest bid being 1.933609%, which he rounded to 9.3% in our conversation this morning. There is a list of the documents. I know there was a list of the companies that bid. The winning bid, as far as the financial advisor is concerned, is Country Club Bank. The other ones are D.A. Davidson & Co., First Bankers Bank Securities Incorporated, Central States Capital Markets LLC, Commerce Bank. There had been discussion of whether a local bank was going to bid or not. JR asked that in the conversation with Mr. Kelly this morning. As you can see, no local bank submitted a bid for this. We don't know if they're going to try and buy it from the purchaser, but the bid that the financial advisor has suggested is the Country Club Bank. They also have included a premium of $12,542.10. Therefore, the net interest cost to the city would be $188,158.53. And if you look at the comparison documents, that's about $20,000 lower than the next lowest interest amount. Are there any questions on the bids or the applications or any of the documents?
There are 2 shares out there that I've got. One is specifically for the stuff that we're talking about tonight, and then there's another one, bond documents, that I'm just putting all the bond documents in that one. If anybody has an interest and you want to go look at all the bond documents, that's where they are. The meeting one tonight just has what we're talking about tonight.
In reference to the bid, of course, we have to accept that bid by vote. The one part on that is the $12,500 and change in premium. There's 2 ways you can deal with that. You can either less the bond amount by that amount, or just take that premium amount as cash. If you're not paying interest on it, it's just the premium. And being it's a small percentage of the amount, I suggested to them that we would just take the premium, the $12,000, and stick with it just the way they presented it. So essentially, we'll have $850,000 plus $12,000 by the time everything is done. If that bid is accepted.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Do I hear a motion to...
Okay, hold on. You have to approve very specifically the bond, and then the ordinance for the bond, and then the resolution for the bond. So if you don't mind, I would like to present that to the council, and then have you ask for a motion on that, and then whoever moves say, "I so move."
And these have to be roll call votes.
Yes.
For all of these.
Okay. So the bid that has been recommended by the financial advisor is the bid of Country Club Bank at an interest rate of 1.933609%. Such bid being from Country Club Bank, which is in Prairie Village, Kansas, and that is considered by the financial advisor to be the best bid for the bonds that were submitted. So does the council will need to approve Country Club Bank as the purchaser.
Read this.
You will need to move that the bid be accepted, that the mayor and clerk be authorized and directed to execute the bid form selling the bonds to the best bidder on the basis of the bid and terms specified in the notice of bond sale. Does anyone make that motion? Moved by Amanda,
Second by Cale.
second by Cal. All right, we need a roll call vote.
Cale,
Yes.
Amanda, Derek, Larry.
Yes.
It passes.
Okay. There's also an ordinance on the server, Ordinance 622, which is an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of General Obligation Bond Series 2020 of the City of St. Francis, Kansas, providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on said bonds as they become due, authorizing certain other documents and actions in connection therewith, and making certain covenants with respect thereto. Is there a council member that moves to approve this ordinance?
I so move.
Moved by Cale. Second by Derek.
Roll call vote.
Cale,
Yes.
Amanda, Derek, Larry.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Also on the server, there is a resolution entitled "A Resolution Prescribing the Form and Details of and Authorizing and Directing the Sale and Delivery of General Obligation Bond Series 2020 of the City of St. Francis, Kansas, previously authorized by Ordinance 622 of the issuer, making certain covenants and agreements to provide for the payment and security thereof, and authorizing certain other documents and actions connected therewith." This is Resolution 2020-4. Is there a council member that will move to approve this resolution?
Do you hear a motion?
I so moved.
Moved by Larry. Second by Amanda.
We need a roll call vote.
Cale,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Derek,
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Passes.
Do you want to do the signing of the documents now, or do you want to wait?
So Scott's going to need to sign all of those documents that he's got a pile of over there. So we probably should just do that.
Okay. And then he'll have to sign,
I'm sorry.
he'll have to sign these.
Yes, there's 2 for him and then 2 for me.
Do
And
you want
then
to sign while he's signing?
Sure. So just so everybody knows, there's just a bunch of signature pages. There's a lot of documents with the bonds, and so the mayor is signing all the signature pages that are required for the bonds, and I will attest. 2 of them have to be notarized by Lauren. We have to have 2 copies of everything.
Can't wait, Cal.
Why do I have 3 of these? Aren't they all the same?
These are me.
Well, it's
These are you.
I got home that I haven't plugged it in, it's my fault. Just don't get it. I keep asking, why in 2 weeks if I'm not using it? I guess,
Really helping out there.
you come down,
That's your bud.
come down and dump them.
15, they're really good. I know we put down there all those ones that ended up at the courthouse. And then pick them up, it's like 12, 15 that we need to.
Oh, you're talking about-
And Lauren, will your office then take care of getting that in the paper?
I have already, I've contacted them already about publishing and letting them know that we would be sending them the summary after hours today, and as long as we get it to them, so that's why I brought my computer, so I could get it fired off to them.
Do you know where, what's the guy's name? Randy Schmiestat, when he set up the motorcycle rally.
There's
All the way across the street?
No, there's a,
Oh, on that
like
pole.
on the pole in the northwest.
Your 2 pages are on the bottom, then Scott's, then mine.
Okay.
The only reason for that order is because that's the order I signed them in.
I'm sorry, what?
The only reason for that order is that's the order that I shuffled over there in.
Okay, I think we can go ahead and move on. We'll start on old business, property cleanup. Got anything?
I had sent you
We
an...
never could get the one issued, right?
We never got, so I had sent 2 letters, gave them to the police to serve. They served it. They didn't do anything. We're working on the complaint and the summons that JR is going to sign this week, I would imagine. We'll have it to you. One of the individuals who we attempted to serve, apparently they tried to serve process 3 or 4 times. They were informed that that individual has moved to Hayes. I had forwarded you an email on that, and I'm just not sure how you want to proceed.
I'm not sure how we do proceed. I mean, if that is the only owner of the property, so I guess I'm not sure what we do from there. That's why I didn't answer.
Yeah.
What's the,
Tommy Paulson has moved apparently to Hayes or somewhere. I mean, if we can't, I don't know. I don't know how we proceed with
Is that
being
place
able to-
vacant now?
What's that?
Is his place vacant now?
Yes. Is it?
Yes, it will be on the new tax sale.
It will.
Yes.
So that one will
Let's
be
just hold off on that
handled.
one,
Okay.
possibly, unless stranger things have happened.
That would be our point of contact.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
If it's gonna be on the tax sale,
If it's
let's
already,
just-
the paperwork's been filed from the county, it was just that, it should have already happened, but with COVID and everything.
Based on those
shutting down, so-
circumstances, we'll hold off on that. We're going to move on about 3 other properties.
Okay. Then I haven't, we just have that one. You're not needing anything further from my office
No,
other than...
no, I'll get addresses and pictures of the additional ones
Okay.
to you.
Perfect, and then I will get a letter issued once and have you already sent a letter to the property, the ones that you're sending pictures to me? You haven't sent a letter?
No, I
Okay.
haven't sent anything.
Do you want to send a letter first and then I'll follow up, or do you want it to just come from me right away?
Let me see if I have a history on it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. There's one of them I might have a history on that I want to refer to and just go directly with that. So let me see what I've got first.
Okay, yeah, I'll wait for direction, then we'll get you the complaint to sign so we can get the proceeding going in municipal court for the other one that
Okay.
was served.
Sound good?
Okay.
And as property cleanups go, all the yard cleanups, we've had mowed too. We're going to be issuing a whole bunch more of those. That's lower level of property cleanup, but in some cases just as important, if not more important.
Especially when somebody lives next to it.
Yep. So that's an ongoing throughout the summer, as always.
Project pending. Anything we need to discuss on there? I do have 2 bids for the library. Anything else we want to discuss before we open up those bids?
I just have one thing. In the documents that I shared, we had talked about the Empire Motel at the last meeting, and so there was a question as to what it actually cost the city after everything was said and done, and so I just put it together for you. The actual cost for us was $10,466.34 after the grants, after the tax rebate. So, just information.
Anything else we want to discuss?
Have we heard about the use of the pool property for pantry? That's
I don't know what they're doing.
any
I haven't
interest?
heard anymore. No. So originally I was going to look at it. By the time you would actually make that a winterizable structure, you'd be better off to build one. It's not feasible for it.
Really?
It's not.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they've had to have heard that so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their plans are or anything on this food pantry, so I guess it's up to them to come back and visit with county or city or whoever
They
to...
could at least use the property possibly somehow, part of it, I don't know. They say,
On the price on the Empire, do we want to relate to Helen that that's the price?
We can always come
She didn't
down.
ask for a price, right?
We can always negotiate.
Well, that's the point, but she wanted a number, just a number. and
I would
not just
advise,
that
I would
cost.
advise the council to go a little higher. You never want to start at what your cost in it is. You want room for negotiation.
I would disagree on the fact that you're
What
trying
did
to
we
get
tell
somebody to
them?
propose what they're putting there.
We went
Because the
15,280,
intention-
The appraised value, wasn't
and
it?
we got 10.
Oh, that's what, you already did do that.
Yeah, we already did that.
That's right,
The appraised
okay.
value.
I guess
That's what I'm saying,
right.
if we have
Yeah,
10,
that way if they
we
look
did
it up,
15, yeah.
they'd be in line, that's
Yeah.
right.
I'd say let's
apologize, I
leave it
forgot
at the
about that.
appraised value.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
above what we've got in it, so.
Yeah, I forgot you did that. I was thinking she was waiting to hear something.
You know, Lila, if anybody else would leave the minutes.
I was gonna say that was.
Nice.
I was going to say, I thought we had discussed 15, but I also did.
15,280, exactly.
Yeah.
In the minutes
So,
should be
yeah,
with
15,280.
Right, and you, I recommended that you abstain from the vote.
Okay, well, we can go ahead and discuss the street project first, and then, any discussion on the street project as we're
How
going?
much, other than, we had the bids, and the low bidder did stick with their bid. I'm not pressing on the 30 days from start time. They had some other work to do, and I don't, we're not in a press to get on the streets, so that should be in the next couple weeks that low bidder will start on the tree removal. There isn't anything additional from Miller Associates, so.
Okay.
And you said, just to clarify, you said some of these trees that have got to come down, you're not going to take them all the way out
It's not taking any of them all the way out,
until you appear to go.
because they'll have to disrupt the actual base of the road, which will have to be dealt with. So we're just going everything in 4 feet in the event we don't get to it.
So do we have to come back with this same contractor?
That would be different, that would be excavation, within, into the street. That would actually most likely be the street project, people or their contractor.
Okay, bids for the library, and I'm sure they're both going to be different. Tried to explain to them both what we wanted done. It's basically doing some fascia work, going in underneath, and you've noticed the little block squares that are going all the way around there. A couple of them have fell off. The stuff has shrunk. That's styrofoam. The whole thing's styrofoam. So I suggested to them, and Roger and I, a couple of years ago, started on the project, and that's how far we got, to just get rid of that stuff. It's pretty, but yet it's a maintenance nightmare. So we're just going to clean it up, get rid of those things, block it down, go over and come down, reduce part of the soffit, basically the 2-foot overhang of soffit all the way around it. But then there's more soffit out front. As you go in, that's wood. It can just be painted. It's not that bad in there. We need to paint it some, probably, maybe not this year, but next year, get it painted along with some other stuff. But we're mainly trying to repair the stuff that needs to be repaired now, or should be repaired. So. And then we're going to go back with metal soffit back to those beams and stuff. So in a few years, they decide to do metal soffit on the rest of it, we could. But for now, it'd be cheaper. Okay, this is Finley Construction, and so the total on it is $7,605. Remove dental blocks of 1 ton. And we was going to use some smart trim on the gable, and it's probably hard for me to explain that. When you look up the gabled ends and across that one deal, it's flat aluminum material they use, and it's all working. So there's going to take a smart siding and try to go up and down and across those to hide that up, because I don't know why they didn't just bring the steel siding all the way down. would have helped on that one part. So, okay, so we need to add that up, because that's, he's got 7,605 plus the 1,500 for that smart study. Better get that right. So that's 9,105 to do that. This bid is from Travis Melny. And it's $11,259.81. I know Travis took down that styrofoam piece this morning and looked under there to see what he had. These guys, I don't know if they ever took that styrofoam piece down, so I know they didn't. They're guessing at it, but yet they're lower. I don't know how they did that, but I mean, if we want to approve the low bid, I will call him up and make sure that he's doing what we said to do. The same as Travis. Because there is basically $2,000 difference.
Yeah, you want to be sure they're doing the same thing.
Check with him first,
I could call that Doug back up and check with him and have him come back up, and if he's doing everything that he's saying they're doing.
You can prove it contingent on him verifying it's the same work, though. If you wanted to.
And if I don't feel like it's going to be the same work, then I'll just bring it back to council and we'll start over. So do I hear that motion? Okay, it's been moved by Dara,
Second.
second by Cale. All in favor? Approved. Okay, I will talk to Doug before we let it out.
Well, if you think it's going to be higher than Travis's, couldn't you just go with Travis and do things?
I just want to make sure he's doing the same thing.
Right.
And then if he's not, then I'll just tell him he's got to rebid it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'll just tell him he needs to rebid it to make sure they're doing the same thing. Because then if he says, no, we didn't figure that or didn't do this, and they add a couple thousand to it, then we'll come back and, but I'll just tell him, I'm not going to tell him anything other than I'm going to find out what all he bid on it. And then if I don't think it's right, I'll tell him he better rebid it. or just forget it, so. Okay. So I've got one more old business, and this goes back about 2 years ago, but it was brought up to our attention that they called Lila, they called me. It's on a fencing dispute on a property up there at Neva Warman's again. And it's basically a civil matter. We've already said that 2 years ago. JR and I have talked. It is still a civil matter. It's between the two property owners fighting over fenced property line and stuff. So she was mad enough. She wanted us to all be up there to look at it and stuff. And who was all on the board when this had started? Okay. So y'all were. I couldn't remember if you was all on when that started. And I know JR and I've been up there several times. I don't remember if the rest of you have been up there or not. It's just one of those situations where she's not happy with the neighbor and
Are there different renters in there now?
same one. I
Same
think.
ones?
And at first it started out about the dogs. Well, then that guy put up an arm fence a foot away from Neva's fence to keep the dogs off of her fence. Then she was concerned about the weeds that grew up between there. Well, it was going to be his responsibility to take care of the weeds because he's the one that made that foot spot. And I don't know exactly what's all going on, but she did make the phone call. So I don't know how far we want to go with this because it's a civil matter between her and the neighbor. What does everybody think?
So now the concern is weeds?
Well, no, did she ever say what her concern was? She just wanted us to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
She thought we all better just drop what we was doing and run up there and
She actually talked to Jen.
Yeah.
I wasn't in when she
Yeah.
she talked to Jen.
but she's actually called twice in the last 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, I think
She called
so.
a long time ago, and now she's a little upset about it, so I don't know how we want to handle it.
Is there anything we can even do?
There's
No,
nothing
we
to
can have it
enforce
in.
because it's private
Can't do
property
anything,
owners.
right?
The fence is 2 or 3 inches off the property line, which means it's shared property no matter whether it was abandoned when it was put up or anything. It is a shared property because it's within that 6-foot area. The fact that she wants it, or disputes that it is her fence, that's what she was told when the permit was issued in 1996, I think, long before I was here. She indicates that it was her fence. She was told it was her fence. Well, that wasn't the code then. It isn't the code now. There's a shared responsibility in the maintenance of it, the ownership of it, everything. I think her concern is that she thinks that she was told it was her fence, that it was, completely her fence. Well, if it was, it would need to be 3 feet off of the property line, and it's not. So the only thing the city could do is say it's a civil matter. We discussed it. It is a civil matter, but it's not. I don't think it's necessary. That's been relayed to her. I know she doesn't like the answer, but I know she's been told that repeatedly. So I don't know.
Could the weeds be a nuisance, like if the weeds are that bad, we'd better sell people, but we.
Yeah, but I think the only concern brought up was the fence. Do you know?
I don't know, but I think it was the fence. And when she talked to me several months ago, that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I mean.
If it's weeds, then we have.
Of course, yeah,
If the weeds are
that
fence,
we would
yeah.
certainly do, and/or dogs, when that's an issue, that's law enforcement. But the fence is not. It's the same thing as a tree that's on a property line, and one property owner wants to take it down, the other one doesn't. That's a civil matter. It's shared property. It's the exact same thing. Anything along a property line, unless the city specifically did something, which they have no business doing anything there, to cause something. So anyway,
So
it's civil.
back in the day when she put that fence in, would she have had to get permission from the neighbor to allow it?
She should have, and that's why we do it now, because it needs to be understood that whenever you put a fence within that area, that it is shared property. You can pay for the whole thing yourself, but it is actually shared property unless it's a full 3 feet off of the property. And that's why we go to the trouble, because of repeated things like this. I was told, that doesn't stand up, that's a fight between you and that owner. If this was a situation where there was an encroachment to the alley, the city's right away or something, then the city's a party to that. But this is completely civil. It's just 2 private parties with a disagreement on the property line fence. There's nothing we can do about it.
I think the only thing we can do, and I don't know if we want to do it, is send her a letter saying we've discussed the matter, it's still a civil matter. That's basically the only thing we could do.
I cannot send that letter.
We know that.
I have, I cannot send that letter. I can find you an attorney to appoint.
But we wouldn't even have to have an attorney do it.
I guess, I mean.
We could write up a letter and sign it and
Yeah.
send it to her.
I can't review it, I have a conflict of interest in this matter, so I must.
Huh?
Mike, can review the letter?
Well, I don't think we need anything.
We don't need a
We
review,
don't-
though,
We
even.
don't
It's
need an
simply as
attorney
the
to
city
send her a
stands
letter
on
to
it.
say that it's still a civil matter. Signed and just say, and at least let her know we discussed it. Otherwise, she'll start calling everybody eventually and stuff. And she still might call you once she gets the letter and this and that, or she'll come to a meeting, which is fine. She has all of her rights to come here too. But I think there's no need of her threatening us that we have to go up there and look at it, or we're going to be sued. That don't cut it for me when you get threats like that, so.
And she can type up the letter, can't you, and then we'll just all sign it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
I'll review it.
Yes, yes, you will.
Okay, well, let's just do that. Let's just respond to her some way, and
What's her address?
what's up on
Third
Third
Street.
Street?
Pinedale Beach, Dale Beach.
513 is the,
Keep telling me how much fun. You're gonna have to come to more meetings if you can.
How do you know that?
just take my word for it.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Next item, pool report.
Everything's going very well. We've had, Lauren paid for the first day of swimming. Had a good turnout first day. We've had remarkably good response so far, as high as 241 day. Probably averaging 90 to 100. We've had a couple cool days where we haven't had quite the turnout, but I'll just say the pool board's extremely pleased with the direction that things have turned, and the cleanliness of the pool, the way everybody down there is working to maintain sanitation procedures and keeping the pool clean. Knock on wood, we definitely feel like we've turned a corner, and we've gotten terrific feedback from the community, to the people in the community, and glad that we got it open. And again, I appreciate the city guys' help. I appreciate the lifeguards and Terry with what they've done down there. To my knowledge, we haven't had any negative feedback. We've been very tickled with the direction we're headed, and people enjoying the pool. Been having some lap swimming.
The aqua size is
Aqua
just
size is going crazy.
crazy. Put like 25
Wow.
to 30,
We've had
which is the most that I think we've had.
several private parties.
Lots of parties already booked.
I guess the only one thing that I'll mention that's been brought up, and I think we'll look pretty hard at it next year, will be some kind of a season pass or punch card or something along those lines. We've had multiple requests for that. Anything else you want to throw in?
That we're having I think we have a really good crew this year, and
Kids are having fun.
it's going really well. They know that it's work too. We want them to enjoy it, but it's work, and we've had a lot of compliments, and haven't had to look at JR's face as much either.
She tells me the same thing, so don't worry about it.
I'm sure she meant that as
That's
the
the
only bad.
nicest way.
Well, I'm sure she meant that as not the only bad thing. The only bad thing is she hasn't gotten to see JR as much. I'm sure that's how she meant it.
I'm sure.
JR,
Any questions?
Did the flyer get fixed for the mail?
Yeah, JR took care of that. we thought we were gonna have to get fiberglass repaired, and I don't know what he did, but he took a piece of bubble gum, put it in there. No. He got it fixed though, after we ran up against brick wall and we couldn't get anybody to really take care of it. He went in there and looked at it and had it fixed like that, so.
That's good. And I have to say, Justin and Wyatt have they're amazing. They are so good. And we appreciate everything they're doing to keep them done.
I think one of the comments I'll make, and I know JR can talk to this as well, but it's amazing what just daily duties, daily things that need to be get done on a daily basis. How many times am I going to say daily? When you have some structure in place and things get accomplished on a daily basis, it really turns around how the pool looks and how it's presented to the community. And it makes the job easier in the long run. So you guys have been really good about helping out to make sure that we're not having any mechanical issues. Everything's running great, knock on wood.
I've been running there 1 or 2 days a week instead of 3 times a day. It really is. And the cleanliness has always been the thing that I was concerned with. There's no concern. It's very little kept.
Good management.
Huh?
Good management thing, certainly. Seems to be better.
We definitely got on the right track.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the ladies, they've handled things very well.
We have a good group of kids that you just tell them what's expected and what needs to be done, and they do it. So it's.
I've heard good comments from some people downtown that things are look like this.
Oh, we've had, was it one evening where there's a whole group of Vidalia people come over?
It was a Sunday.
In fact, I'm not so sure everybody.
We've got several Idalia parties too.
That's what I was getting at.
How much is it to reserve private party?
It's 75.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
That's what I
That's for 2 hours.
Might be something to
How many-
discuss changing.
How many lifeguards are
Doesn't
there?
pay for the guards.
Yeah.
Oh, it's normally for private parties, probably about 4.
The price should be $75 plus the lifeguard's wages anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would expect over 100.
We've discussed this because we've also been told that Ray is charging like $250. So that's why we're getting
Ooh,
like Idalia
Yeah.
people.
and we could go 125 and.
Well, that's one of the things that the pool board has talked about. I mean, we didn't have this kind of activity last year. We didn't have people that were, it either wasn't advertised or we weren't getting out to people that wanted to do private parties. What, you guys probably have 8 or 10 of them booked already?
Oh, at least, yeah.
I might have to book
And it was right away, so it was an issue.
That's just what it was in the past. We really
Yeah.
didn't have any real experience with the private parties because we may have had 2. And then it was only 20 people or something. I mean, I do like the fact that she's pushing more towards the private parties, and that will generate interest as well. And then we can look at
We can look at what other cities charge, and then we can stay below them and still keep them here.
Or maybe even longer periods, like 3 hours possibly.
Or we could do
Or
it.
more, or whatever. Okay.
They've already done an adult swim, they've done a night swim for kids,
A team.
team night. They're looking at other activities as well and generate more interest in the pool. I know for a fact that Ray is limited to strictly in-county residents.
Same with Sharon Springs.
Sharon Springs is the same way. Atwood's at a 49-person max right now. They haven't backed off of that yet.
And I was just informed today that, I don't know what will happen in Thomas County, but they've had an outbreak of COVID in Thomas County, what they're considering an outbreak. So they canceled volleyball today, because we had several of the girls that had to leave to to go to volleyball today, and they got up there to leave, and it got canceled.
Oh, their tournament?
Their tournament, so, in Thomas County. It's showing 10 cases, but there was 0 cases. So this is just, come on.
Which was
So
which
that
was
might
awesome.
change things for their pool and stuff like that too.
We've been very fortunate.
So, yeah. We make sure, I mean, we're not being like right on top of people, but when they come in, it's, you know, every person, that's why sometimes I go home and my voice is hoarse, like it sounds today, because we tell every person that comes in, please shower, you need to shower before you get in the pool. And we're, you know, cleaning stuff and wiping down things and.
Well, she's not saying that she's forced me on
I get hoarser after you
Okay.
Anyways,
Just
the
different
pool's
people.
going great, we got a
We're
great
still-
crew. and-
Pool board's still open for suggestions. I mean, we're wanting to build on this year and then see where all we can go next year.
But I can relay that we have had a lot of requests for pool passes and for like punch cards. Just because people don't carry cash on them as much now as they used to, and so having to have that cash to give to their kids to come to the pool, they would prefer to. It's, I think you could probably make more money on a pool pass, you know, set an amount.
Well, I think it'd be easier on you guys too, just to have, you know, used to they kept a card folder in there with
Mhm.
punches in it and just punched it, and
Yeah.
you don't have to handle money all the
Right.
time and stuff, so.
Right. And that would have been great to do this year with all the COVID stuff, because you think about all the money that's, the dollar bills and everybody that's touching them and all that, but, I mean,
You could do prepay accounts, but then, like, kids would spend all the money on snacks that they're not
Right.
supposed to. Like,
Yeah.
You can't limit them of, here's your $2.
yeah,
You
yeah, you
give
can
them
only
like,
spend $2 today.
we put $50 on the family prepay account.
Realistically, one of the things we talk about with pool passes is if somebody buys a season pass, most individuals or families won't get their money out of that season pass. They won't go that many times. That's one of the reasons that we're leaning pretty hard, but we don't think we can get it in yet this year, because we've got a short time frame. Plus, we're still looking at the options of trying to push this thing into late August if we can, maybe even through Labor Day. If we have staffing, if it's something I can coordinate with Jerry. That's one of our goals from the get-go is try to extend the season. We're fortunate this year that we've got a lot of younger kids, but we don't know what's going to happen to school activities yet either.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Jerry.
Appreciate the
Yep.
conference stuff, and appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept and file the pool report?
I have one thing. Do you have any more on that AED device? Have you heard anything more about it?
No, I meant to get, I don't think I got that information forwarded to Bruce. Bruce was gone when this all come about. And I need to forward that information to him and let him do some more research on it.
Okay.
So no, I haven't.
Okay. I haven't had Cody do anything because, you know, we need to find out if we're even going to need to write a
Let me
grant,
see if I
so.
can get that information to Bruce. I'm asking him to do the research.
Okay, okay.
And the foundation meets tomorrow night, and then we're going to start our local branch, see if we can give out, you know, a few of those too. To not just all the commission.
Okay, do I hear a motion to file the pool report?
Second.
Moved by Darius, second by Amanda, all in favor? Approved. Building permits? Superintendent report?
The material from Resco has been ordered, that's about 10 weeks out. Sometime in the meantime, Ward Electric, who is the contractor that I've negotiated with to do the work, we'll send out a foreman to look over what we can do and try to put kind of a, I guess, a price tag on a fixed amount of work for the first year. We are hoping to do that this fall. Pretty sure it will happen, material will be here, and they have some time available. It's just a matter of deciding how far we want to go with it, but I'll have come back with some general estimates on that once that individual comes out. RBW, that's the engineering firm that we utilize to do the bid documents and the spec sheets for all of the electrical work. They now have a mapping software that I think we might be interested in. We're going to get a sample of it. So the ArcGIS is the mapping we use, the live mapping we use for all of the underground utilities and overhead utilities. It's required by FEMA that you keep all this stuff up to date in the event you have a catastrophe, that anybody can read your mapping and know where the primary facilities are, right down to the meters of the houses. The problem with it is the support on it's foreign-based. It's very complicated, and RBW has taken and simplified that to a much more user-friendly, and then they also have their own support for their own mapping. It's a $600 a year. I think we're at $700 and something on ArcGIS. Again, I'm not ready to suggest we go with it because we're messing with models of it right now, but it's way easier to work with. Instead of having one person who can make the changes to it, this stuff is where literally the Parks and Rec guys wanted to change mapping on a sprinkler, they could. Water can do water on the site instead of taking pencil or paper maps back to the main computer and rewriting it. So it can really simplify and make it a lot easier to keep this stuff up to date. It'll be a really big improvement on maintaining that requirement. The question came up last time about sandblasting the band shell. Brock's guy still hasn't been out. Obviously, we're not going to have anything done in a short period of time anyway, so I still don't have an alternative price on sandblasting that. Part of the electrical work, switching back to the electrical, we ordered all the material. However, in the original bid documents, I got to looking back, I had not included the transformers because I didn't want them marking up 15 or 20% on things that we can order directly. And so in noticing that, I did have to order $16,000 worth of transformers for this electrical work that we're going to do too. Again, this is several years worth of material with Resco, and this is all of the transformers for all of that designated work on 1 and 3.
Do we need a motion to approve that then?
We do. I'll actually have a specific number on that later, just like the material, but I guess authorized to purchase the material for around that, and then we'll have to clarify that number once it's on.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the transformer purchase of approximately $16,000?
So,
Moved by Larry. Second by Darrell. All in favor? Approved.
And hopefully, our sweeper should be back within the next week and a half or so. I know that's
What all they have to do to it?
a lot at this time. It's quite a bit.
so who's going to run it?
What's that?
Who's going to run it?
Anybody can run it. It's just a matter of the time.
Is you going to run it?
Absolutely. With the way our streets look, yeah, maybe. Dan Blair has an anniversary date in July, and he wanted to request that he have 40 hours carried over on that. There's no way he can have them used in that amount of time.
So he wants to carry 40 hours.
That's the maximum we allow.
Okay.
And it has to be by the council's authority that they carry that over the next year.
Do I hear a motion to move?
Second.
Moved by Cale, second by Amanda. All in favor? Okay, approved.
Very good. The chips, which is the rock that we use for Whittier Street, we've got that ordered. We hope to, I didn't talk to Dave today, but I believe the schedule is late July for Whittier Street to get double chip seal. So we have all the rock in place, and we're just going to, I'm sure I mentioned this, but just going to jump on with the oil they're already getting for a quantity there, because I just didn't want to get us that financially deep into the other street work with the other things we have going on this year. But Whittier had to get completed. Need probably 5 minutes of executive session for employee wages. That is it.
Okay. Have a motion to file the superintendent report.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda, second by Cale. All in favor? approve. Attorney report.
My first thing that I just noticed, is that the publication of summary documents that they sent it, it was published in the St. Francis Herald and Bridge City Times on July 2nd. We're actually going to get it in on the 25th. So I can edit that document, email it to Lila, and then print it out. That's the date they have at the top of the publication, at the signature page. If you look at the page with my signature on it, they have published in the St. Francis Herald and Bird City Times on July 2nd, 2020, but we're actually going to be getting it in this week's paper, so it's going to be on the 25th.
I wonder if is that the only place that it says that? I mean, I haven't read through all the documents.
That's the only, I think, relevant. The ordinance has a, wait just a moment. The ordinance has, in parentheses, published in the St. Francis Herald and Bird City Times on July 2nd, 2020, and that was if we were posting the whole ordinance. That part is not actually going to be part of your ordinance. We're just going to copy the remainder of the ordinance. I mean, we don't have when it was published in the ordinances. So it's just in those two places. We can change both of them if necessary, but, or I mean, I guess I can not send it to her.
I don't know if there was a reason for that. You know,
I think that we had, I mean, my understanding was that she had been told that if we didn't get it in by 5 on Monday, because 5 on Monday is the deadline, and so we wouldn't have had it by 5 on Monday to get it in, but I'd spoken with the paper about getting it in. I guess I can send Courtney an email. I can send Courtney Howard an email and essentially say, we are able to get it in this week's paper if we can change this date. Is there an issue with that? And I'll send her an email right now and basically just let her know this is what it is. Otherwise, we can just wait. I mean, we can wait till next week to get it in, but I don't know. I don't see any reason why we would wait if we can get it in this week's paper and just get it taken care of. It needs to be posted on the city website and posted it in the clerk's office at City Hall for 7 days after the publication, and so in interest of having to have it up for basically 3 weeks. If we post it today or tomorrow, get it up after the meeting, and then if we don't run publication till July 2nd, it has to stay up till July 9th. That's 2.5 weeks of having, I mean, I guess it's up to the council, but I just think that there's no point in waiting unless she has a reason that I'm not seeing, but I think the only reason is that the deadline has always been Monday at 5, but I have always found that if I email the paper that day and say we're having a council meeting, I'm going to have something for publication to get in the paper, they will let me get it to them first thing Thursday morning. So I will email Courtney Howard and ask her about that. If that's the case, Lila, what I will do is in the morning I will change that, print it out, sign it, bring you the 2 hard copies so you can make the mail. And then I will get that to the paper via email. So I will send Courtney that email while you're giving your report. The other thing that has been brought to my attention is that there have been food trucks coming through, and so they would fall under the category of transient vendor for the ordinance regarding licenses. This was brought to my attention today at 11:53 a.m. and I have not had a chance to do much beyond read the definition of transient vendor in the ordinances. So Lila had brought up that there had not been the food truck craze, for want of a better word, when the ordinance was written as there is now. There's a significant number of food truck vendors that come through the area and stop here or there. I know there was something out at Majestic, and then there was someone selling barbecue. in another parking lot. And so I didn't know how the council would be interested in addressing the food trucks.
Right now, I'll just say that the only thing that we really have for them is the peddler's license transient vendor application. It doesn't really apply to this, but they really should be paying the peddler's license fee if they're going to be selling.
Is that like Swans
No, this is like I think there was like a tropical snow up at Majestic, and there was a barbecue food truck at some off-road,
Morris Off-Road.
Morris Off-Road. And so, that would be subject to the peddler's license, and I didn't know.
I'm going to guess both of them don't know. But
Right,
I'm sure
and
they
and
don't,
that's
yeah.
Just a phone call to them, it might just.
Right.
This would be different than what we, and by no means am I saying because it was done this way, it should stay that way, but like the Texas Red, if another business sponsored previously, if another business, a grocery store used to sponsor for the Texas Red guy who was here once a month and would do that, that's how it was viewed at that time, was as long as somebody allowed them to set up their business, which was a business, an open business, not just a lot, that they were allowed to do that. Whether that's to be considered, I don't think so.
And would a food truck be considered a peddler, though?
Well, they're not, it's a
It would be a
transient
transient
merchant.
vendor.
Transient. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's
So-
not a peddler, because they're not going door to door, but
So
it is
if it's
a
not
transient
specific in the
vendor.
ordinance, why wouldn't we contact the league and reference specifically to it and see if they have any guidelines?
There is a lot. The food truck thing is actually a pretty good topic right now on the clerk link.
As a-
Yeah.
Has there been complaints, I'm assuming?
No, just people wanting to know what ordinances do you have in place for food trucks, because, what do you charge for license fees, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of it out there. But I guess for right now, the way that we have things is they just need to pay the fee that just like any other peddler. But
Like Swans truck, they come
no,
in.
because they take orders. They're not. These folks are just there, set up
They don't
and
take
selling.
orders.
They have it out
They
of the
stop
truck.
door to door and ask you what you want.
Then they should have one too.
I don't think they go door to door. If you're a customer.
They used to.
They can't, no, that's how they get around it. They will only go if you if they're asked
Yeah.
to.
Once they get
Only
started.
go to establish.
They used to, like, they would pick a week or whatever that they would try to go door to door and run up business. I think years ago that
Yeah.
they would.
Then once they
take-
had you, then they stopped every week or every time. Yeah.
So that's a little different.
To
I'm not
JR's
defending it, I'm just
To
saying
JR's
that-
point, the transient merchant's ordinance, the definition of transient merchant, does say at the end of it, the person so engaged shall not be relieved from complying with the provisions of this article merely by reason of associating temporarily with any local dealer, trader, merchant, or auctioneer, or by conducting such transient business in connection with, as a part of, or in the name of any local dealer, trader, merchant, or auctioneer. So to the point that if they are connected with a local shop, that does not absolve them from the requirement of complying with the with the licenses. I just don't know. I don't know how to address it other than if whenever there's supposed to be a food truck coming in, I guess wherever they're supposed to set up shop, I don't know if we put it in the paper to note. I mean, I don't know. Shy of running a peddler's license up to them and making them apply and paying a fee right there or citing them. I mean, otherwise every time a food truck vendor comes in, we're going to have to basically call the police and have them cited or have them warned. And I mean, I don't know how.
We had that one guy that had the Mexican truck. I think he sat up down by you guys, but
He was.
he had a peddler's license that he.
And he came to the car show every year. And
Mhm.
From Atwood.
From Atwood, yeah.
Mhm.
They had the hot dog stand at one time too. They had
Mhm.
a first license too, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually not a peddler's license, but that's the only application we have. It's a transient vendor one.
Right. I mean, it's...
So is that the $250 for the year?
Mhm.
Or so much per event?
$50 a day, or $250 per year. I mean, that's what it
Yeah,
says.
because it's application for peddler, solicitor, or canvasser license. And under in the definitions under that section, a transient merchant is subsection E. And it applies to food, I mean, subsection E applies to food trucks. It's this long, I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you're in for some riveting reading, it can be found on page 5-2 of the code book.
I think those are both local people. We need to just send them a letter, let them know that they need to come in and apply for it.
Or even a phone call that,
Yeah, I
you
can
know, just a
call
phone
them.
call that this is the ordinance, and also remind them of the sales tax increase when you sign the city limits.
So my only thing with, because food trucks are so specific, some of the communities require a separate application, and the people have to show their food safety license from the Department of Ag. I mean, it's a very unique thing, the food trucks. It's so different from all these other
I think
ones.
just a simple phone call, this is where we're at, but I would still like to see what the leader of the explained, and maybe we need to address it and be a little more specific with food trucks.
I can get you whatever I can find.
Yeah,
The link.
if you would send me the link, that'd be...
Yeah.
Matt Morris says he doesn't have a truck.
No. What does he sell from?
They must have just cooked it at their place and hauled it all up there in roasters.
Oh,
They just had roasters there.
interesting. Hmm.
New problem.
So that's a
Joy.
transient vendor.
What's
If he
that?
wasn't selling it from a food truck, then he's just a transient vendor.
Yeah. The snow cone, they do have, I don't know if it's a truck or just a trailer, but that's something, I haven't seen it yet, so. I think let's give them a phone call and see, and then we'll find out if they're gonna come in and apply. Then if they don't, then it's a little different. They probably just don't realize that they need to do that.
And they should have a license from KDA, I'm sure. A food license of some kind.
Well, but we don't have anything in there that says we require that. I wouldn't be able to ask for that because we don't have that
Yeah.
as part of our
We just gotta
process.
start out as,
But if we want to update
Right.
Yeah.
trucks, we can
Right,
put
that's,
that in the
I think
application.
that's the question is, do we want to define food truck? And heighten the requirements for a food truck. I think that's the,
Well,
I guess I'd
either
like
way,
to
the
see-
state
yeah.
would require them to have a food license, so we could at least on the application ask what their food license number is.
I can add that.
The state would require
Let's see
that.
what the clerk's book says, and see what other, I mean, if there's lots of information out there, and to see what other communities,
Yeah.
especially even around here, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Because there's going to be towns that don't require anything. There's
Mhm.
probably people out there with food trucks that don't have a license. I think
Mhm.
you wouldn't want those
Yeah.
in your town. I mean, it's food service that requires a certain level of safety and
Mhm.
proper preparedness. I mean, that's... It could be
Something
kind of
else,
sketchy to
right.
give
Right.
somebody
I could
permission.
Right,
add that
which
to
is
our
why-
application.
That's why they were
Couldn't
called
I
roach
without-
cones.
well, I mean,
It's just an application. I could just add that wording. If it's a food truck, we need your...
I would ask the league, if this is here, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Oh,
they
there's a
have
lot of
guidelines.
conversation, yes.
right.
Right, but I mean, even to the definition, to the specifying it and adding it to the code very specifically, they would have that information, I'm sure they would, because that's where all the guidelines.
Right, and I mean, I would think that would be appropriate. I don't know that putting it on an application without further definition, I mean, if we're saying, if you're a food truck, what is your license number? We have to define what a food truck is. Is a food truck a vehicle that you drive that has a kitchen in it? Is a food truck a trailer that you pull behind
What
a
if they're
vehicle?
just
that you-
selling
both.
food, period?
A snow cone
It
is
could be
not
both.
food.
It could
The
be
league is
trailer.
gonna cover that, because
Yeah.
you've
Right,
got
well,
hot dog stands, the snow
That's,
cone
but that's what
things,
that's what I'm
the-
saying, is I agree that we should see what the league has so we can use that, but I don't think we can change the application until we implement something.
Get all the
So,
guidelines from there
the
first,
KDA
Right.
then make the
Yeah.
application from there.
Right, and that was just Delilah's point of should I add that on the application, and my answer to that is not until
yet.
we have something else.
The KDA license calls it a mobile food unit, so it doesn't
Yes.
matter if it's on a trailer or drivable or a cart, it's a mobile food unit. So
Okay, so do we want
We
to
can look up-
contact these people, or do we want to wait until we have
They need to,
everything together?
I'd say contact them, let them know this is what the ordinance is as it stands.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
So
at minimum, they should be paying the application fee to be serving here in town and make them aware of the higher sales tax.
Right.
And what about the other ones? Around.
the peddlers?
Well, the Swans,
Oh,
the food truck, it's frozen food, but
I think that's
Land
different
fee.
though, because I've never, I
It
feel like
won't
the
fit this
Schwan,
definition for sure.
yeah. I
There's
don't
no
know.
way, because they are not soliciting. They're going to people who have agreed to have them stop on a regular basis.
or like Allison's
And by
Pantry.
Yeah.
referral, which is kind of a joke, because it's skirting
It
what they're
is.
really trying to do, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, just like we talked one other night, like the Hispanic kid when he was doing these burritos walking around. If he had orders for them, then he's not peddling.
Yeah,
If he's just delivering.
He's delivering them to their house or to their business. I mean, yeah.
It's a mix.
We got better things to worry about.
Yeah.
I'll give these folks a call though and just let them
Yeah,
know.
I would guess they probably really don't know that you should
Mhm.
have a vendor's license, so at least we start there.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'll let you know if I find anything.
yeah, and if you would just look into what the league has
Yep.
and send me that, or send me a link so that I can look into what the league has, that'll be,
Just don't shut them
I'm
down
sure.
yet, not until after this weekend.
Yeah. Why, what's this weekend? Oh, never mind. Well, they're your vendor though. They're under your umbrella at the car
We don't
show.
have enough hours.
Hey, do your special event. We waived all vendor fees for your special
Well, you did
event.
on that, okay. So they'd be all right on that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going out, okay.
Yep.
Because the one that we had that has a food truck, has a license and everything, just, she's broke down. So we had to hurry up and hunt around, so we did know it's going to come up and help us out with some stuff, so, but yeah, we still need to let them know that they need a vendor's license.
Okay.
Most of the time, they'll need a vendor's license. Okay. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Motion to file the attorney report. Moved by Cale, second by Amanda. All in favor? Approved? Or
Dara.
Dara
Dara.
seconded. Okay. Clerk report.
I don't have too much. Out on the share is the latest quote from Granite. I spoke to the mayor. I felt like if we're essentially putting our phone service out for bids, we ought to give Next Tech the opportunity to rebid their service. It's possible that perhaps they can offer better pricing, and the mayor agreed that that would probably be the right thing to do. So I did reach out to Next Tech. They should be getting me something this week. They may or may not be able to do anything better than what they're currently doing, but I think they need to be given that opportunity. But with that said, the bids that I keep getting from Granite are a little hard to decipher. I can't quite figure out where they come up with the cost comparisons as to what we're paying. However, what has been consistent is what they're showing as what their costs would be. So I feel like, looking at that based on what we're currently paying, they could save us probably around $100 a month. I don't think the savings are as significant as what they're showing in their quote, in their proposal, because what they're comparing it to doesn't match our bill. So I don't know. We've been going around and around on this for a couple of months trying to figure out why their quotes don't match our bill.
Have you got any more feedback from Eric Harper?
He has no issues with them. He says they're fine. He says the people that he works with are easy to work with, so he doesn't have any concerns about the service that they've gotten, as far as I know. So with that said, I think we can save. We probably would be able to save money with this company. I think probably around $100 a month. But we're going to wait and see what Next Tech brings back. So at the next meeting, we should know and move forward with that. I do need to request a motion from the council. We're going to need to establish 2 non-interest-bearing checking accounts at F&B Bank. One of them is for the CDBG grant funds and one for the bond funds. So we have to have separate bank accounts for these funds to go into and be spent out of during the project phase of the streets. Once construction is completed, then we'll have a bond and interest fund to make the payments on that. But for right now, I do need the 2 separate bank accounts to put those monies into when we get them. So, and with the following authorized signers: the mayor, Scott Schultz; council president, Amanda Milne; councilwoman, Dara Carmichael; city clerk, Lila Whitmore; and city treasurer, Jennifer Blair.
Is there a motion to go ahead and get these 2 accounts started? Moved by Amanda, second by Larry. All in favor? Approved.
I will say, if you're wondering why we're doing F&B, it's because of the pledging. We can't have the funds going out and coming back when we're talking federal grant funds, so that's the reason. The budget, we're going to have to, the next meeting is July 13th, we're going to need to schedule a budget workshop. I would recommend either later that week or the very early part of the next week, because we will have to approve our budget July 22nd to get it in the paper for publication. So let me pull up a calendar here.
I should be able to, I'm working with Angela and Derek and get some information. Hopefully by this meeting, we'll have a rough draft of the budget prepared for everybody to just kind of look at. So we would need to have a budget workshop here for the early part here. And the reason I say that is that gives us then a little bit of time for me to get any suggestions or recommendations back to Angela to formulate and get it into a finalized version so we can approve it here and publish it here.
What's everybody think on? So the meeting's on the 13th, so then you'd like to sometime right after that have a budget meeting. So you want to do it that week, or you want to do it the first of the next week?
I will just throw this out there. I'm gone here. And so for me personally, early this week would be better, so I'd have a whole another weekend to work on it, but I will make anything work. If we can't do it, then that's fine.
I might be gone that week of the 13th.
So maybe the 20th.
Yeah. So maybe we just have a meeting on the 13th, 20th, and the 27th.
Is my presence required at
I'll be
the...
gone the 13th.
Not necessarily.
I have a continuing legal education in South Dakota on the 20th and 21st, so I will be out of the state on those days.
I don't remember, I don't think so. I don't think Mike came to the budget
Okay,
workshop.
then that's irrelevant.
But Kale and Dara both said they wouldn't be here on the 13th.
On the council meeting.
Yeah.
As of now, anyway.
But I guess we can still go over what you guys have ready, and then that next Monday's when we gotta crunch the numbers.
And I can send it out on the share, so you guys can look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should put the 20th then, for the budget workshop?
I think so. Okay.
I think that's all I have.
Have you heard when we get that grant money
I
in?
have not heard anything from Justine.
I didn't know.
You know, sent her an email, but I haven't heard back. I'm sure she's really, really busy, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I hear something, but.
Okay, do I hear a motion to file the clerk report? Moved by Cale. Second by Amanda. All in favor? Approved. Council comments, Cale?
Nothing here?
Amanda? There? Larry?
I'll just say again, we appreciate your support with the concert in the park and what we're trying to put together. Appreciate it.
And as I said, the car show is this weekend, and it will be in the paper, probably the last one.
Really,
Unless there's some young members that'll sign up, or some organization will help us out. We've been doing it, Nancy and I have been doing it for 21 years. It's actually our 20th year. First year, we just seen if we could get any interest, and we had 30-some cars show up that day. So we started it, and we got a lot of members. That oldest one is 77, and our youngest member is going to be a junior in high school right now. But that's the youngest one. We had 5 young guys interested 3 years ago. We only have 1 of them now. So this could possibly be the last year. I hope somebody steps up. I really do. I'd help them, but we're just, after 20 years, you learn the course, and it just, everything seems to go that way. So, and I appreciate all the time and effort that the city's put into every one of those car shows we've had. They always get stuff ready for us that week of, and so they've always done a good job for us on that. So
How many do you have coming?
we have no clue because of how this year's went. We've only got like about 12 pre-registered. We usually have 70 or 80 pre-registered, but we've got $100,000 Telsius coming now, 2 of them, out of Colorado Springs. We got the semi truck coming. Yeah, it's a local guy here in town that redid a semi. But we've got, just the rumor around, we are the first car show in Northwest Kansas, in this corner of Kansas. The only other one that I know of that happened was last weekend in Liberal. Norton's having theirs on the 10th. Oakley always has theirs the 1st of June. Theirs is going to be July 31st or August 1st. So there's all these things just got pushed and pushed and pushed. A lot of them just got canceled. Most of them got canceled. All the ones in Colorado just got canceled. Nobody's having them. So I don't know what we'll have. I really think we'll have 120 to 150. Okay, well, I guess we need to stop here and let JR go into his 5 minutes. So, who all needs to be here?
Oh, just everybody that's the attorney, I guess. Everybody just.
Andrew, have a lovely night.
You too, Lauren. Thanks.
Thank you.
You didn't have to tell me twice.
I'm going to give these back to you. Hang on to it. That way I don't need it when I talk to him.
Okay.
You need personnel
I emailed Courtney and I CC'd you on that email. I'll let you know first thing.
for 5 minutes.
Good night.
See you.
See ya.
Thanks.
I move we go into executive session for the purpose of personnel wages with everybody in the room. We come out at 9:17.
Second.
Okay. Second by Cale.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion about the proposed increases? What's everybody's thoughts? Everybody in agreement with what they put out there?
So we just need a motion to accept
So,
recommendations.
If everybody's in agreement, do I hear a motion to go with recommended pay increases? Okay, it's been moved by Amanda, second by Dara. All in favor? It is approved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You want these back, Tyler? Or-
Yes, I'm going to shred those.
Yeah, just back to Lila.
While we're on this, maybe we need to, I did mention it a while ago, but can I add on our executive session for our 5 minutes then?
For
For wages
personnel.
on department heads?
Okay.
And maybe we'll need those back for a second, and then we'll give them to you before we leave.
Okay, so who's made that motion?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for, what do you say, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
For non-elected personnel, for wages, with just the council and mayor.
Council mayor.
Okay. Resuming at 9:26. Who did the second?
Who?
Dara.
I'll make a motion to increase the department head's wages by $2,000
Oh, thank you.
per year. Yes.
Per year for you and JR.
Okay,
And then moved by Amanda, second by Dara, all in favor? Approved.
thank you very much.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So,
It's been challenging this year.
It has been a challenging year.
Okay, your motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Amanda and Cale got up first, I guess.
Oh, it's kind of a tie.
It was a tie.
It doesn't matter.
Amanda comes
Ladies
before
first.
Kale in the alphabet.